I am Jeremy.
I'm Krista.
And we're parentally unprepared.
Yes, very.
It does sound weird live.
Yeah.
In my headphones.
A little bit.
I hate it.
It's okay.
I hate it.
I'm sorry. It sounded good.
We're in a different setup right now.
I like this. This is a superior setup. Is that going to go off on its own since you're way far away from your board?
Yeah, it should.
Okay.
Once I get my new board, that one will come to the table and I'll be able to do more controlage.
I like it.
So
let's crank it down.
It's coming down. Watch, listen. Well, it's been a little while.
Yeah, I'd say so. We are terrible.
I didn't even look at the date. I was kind of ashamed to even look.
Long time.
Many things have changed.
So many, and we haven't updated, and we should have. I feel terrible because I feel like
we started this thing.
Well, there's so many things I wanted to just update. Like if no one ever listens to this, we've still got a record for our family. And I feel terrible. Like there's so many things we've missed.
I almost feel like maybe we should.
May was the last. We did a 2-year-old update, but before that, it was August. So we were terrible. Yeah,
we're bad people. I feel like maybe the thing to do for us anyway. I don't know who's listening, who's still listening, who will listen, but I think maybe the thing to do for us is to go through and maybe do a couple episodes where we just go back through our pictures. We're like, oh yeah, we did this thing.
We would definitely have to pre-pick some pictures, and share with each other, maybe.
Maybe.
So there's an element of surprise, but an element of actual planning. So we're not just sitting there meandering with some boring nothing to talk about.
Well, you're like the picture queen, so I'm thinking like we pick. So if we haven't done it since May, maybe we just say, okay, let's look at the pictures over the summer and pick out like big moments from the summer.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And then we do the fall, which we got because we got Halloween, where we were all Elsa. Amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'd like to talk about that experience for sure.
We could do that, but here's my thought. I don't think we should backtrack too much.
Yeah. I think we do a summer recap and a fall recap.
I don't even think we should do a recap. I think just as those stories come up in the course of sticking to our new thing, we do it. Like
since she was 2. A mini special inside of a very disjointed podcast.
A very niche, only for people with our last names podcast.
Yeah, no joke. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
With your
my non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
Because we have news. This is prompting our getting off our butts is we have another baby on the way.
We're unprepared yet again.
Again. We were kind of prepared.
I'm not prepared.
It was not unexpected, but we are still unprepared. There you go.
There you go.
Our first kid's flipping around in bed. She's in a big girl bed now, y'all. It's terrifying.
Right. So you are how far along now with second?
19 weeks today.
19 weeks.
So we're almost halfway there now. It's exhausting.
Yeah, this one's different, right? This one feels different.
Chasing a toddler changes everything. I used to go to...
And working. You weren't working. We were working, but we weren't working.
It was pandemic. So I still had to work because I still had a stressful job. But it was like the pandemic adjustment period where you got a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were coming off of a lot of relaxation.
Yeah. But I could go to bed at 6 p.m. when I was tired.
Summer of love. I like to call it the summer of love, 2020.
It was wonderful.
The 60s, whatever. 2020, summer of love.
Yeah, this time around though, I still have things I have to do to keep the family running and my job going, and essentially. At some point, I have to take care of me.
Well, I think also what helped is the fact that we weren't really able to go out into the world, so unless we really had to at the time when we started doing the last one.
I don't really go anywhere still though. I have kept up my COVID socialization skills.
You just made them normal socialization skills.
I mean,
this is just the way I am now.
It pretty much has become that. Like I keep in touch with my friends on the phone, like a normal millennial these days.
We see plenty of our friends though.
Yeah, no, I should probably tell you about a date I made next week, by the way, to go see some people.
Oh.
But yeah, it's very different. We're almost halfway there. I feel like I haven't done a thing for the new kid. I know we have. Like
it involves doing a lot of things for the
current
first kid.
That's we gotta get the current kid situated before we can even start for the new kid.
Everybody understands whether you have a kid or not. There's like a domino effect that has to happen when you're doing projects in the house.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But you also don't have a little person taking your dominoes that you're trying to set up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little different.
Our dominoes had to start with moving my clothes out of the guest room closet so we could start the process of moving her into a big girl room, which is the guest room. Well, my clothes had to go somewhere, which was the master closet in our old ranch style house with no closet space. So we had to create enough organization to fit 2 grown modern adults in there. And we also had to donate a lot of clothes.
You see my chair?
I do see your chair full of 200 T-shirts you're not willing to part with.
It's hard.
I know it is. I actually went through my T-shirts and had the same issue. I just don't have as many as you, thankfully. I leave them in the store usually.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, you're right. This heater is gonna.
Oh
man,
I'm gonna be cold. My feet are cold. I was like,
listen,
don't move it closer. It's gonna singe you.
This kid is sucking all the warmth out of me. The first kid, I was hot all the time. This one, I'm freezing.
She's an ice queen.
Okay, call me Elsa. I don't know.
This kid is. You said this has been real different, and this kid is also a boy.
He's a boy. Got a little man coming.
El Nino.
El Nino. I love it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. The boy. The little boy.
Yeah. He's gonna be a force, I'm sure. So far, my acne is 20 times worse. I was glowing the first time around, and felt more beautiful than I'd ever felt. This time around, my skin looks like a lunar surface. I wonder
how much of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was wondering how much of that is like you still have to go out and like do makeup and get ready and stuff like that. Like because we weren't going anywhere. Like,
I did more makeup while I was pregnant with her because I was actually taking progress pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
You got that guilt going on too. That's like I was doing these things for the last one. I'm not doing any of that for this one.
Oh yeah.
Because you haven't taken a progress picture yet.
I took one this weekend.
You did.
Thank you.
When was the first one you took for the first kid?
I want to say 10 weeks.
We're at what?
10 weeks.
We're at what now?
Oh, 19.
Oh.
It's okay.
This poor kid.
Listen.
He's going to wonder why there's not enough pictures of him
Let
in
me
your belly.
just be blunt too. I was on a weight loss kind of like
oh yeah, you were
self-improvement like progress thing, and it all got kicked off because I gained 20 pounds and was the heaviest I'd ever been not pregnant, because I was like at my pregnancy weight, not pregnant. I was in a little slump. Anyway, I got over it and lost like 20 pounds, and we found out we were pregnant. And where was I going with that? So anyway, the progress pictures didn't look that different. Like I didn't see any progress. So I was just like, I didn't feel like I was showing. And I've been proven very wrong because people I barely know keep telling me, when are you due and stuff like that. And I'm like, I haven't told you I'm pregnant. Like at 12 weeks, I had a damn stranger walking down the street. Like, when's your daughter getting a baby brother or sister? It was like, I don't know you. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like 12 weeks along. I haven't even told my parents yet. What are you talking about? I was mad. And then some other lady in the store looked at me and was like, my daughter, she's pregnant like you. And I was just like, I don't know you. You got to believe that.
You didn't. That's fine. I don't know if I'm going to worry about it this much.
Yeah, fair enough. But
I think that ship has sailed. I don't have the energy.
Fair. I'll just.
I don't have anything to write with. I don't have a pad to write on.
Oh, I think you did that intentionally.
Mind your P's and Q's, everyone.
Deal. But yeah, so that's probably why I haven't taken so many progress pictures, is because I had some rapid changing body stuff going on before I got pregnant, and then I just felt like I was still losing weight. I wasn't showing any different.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah. Do you think I'm showing right now? And I still don't think I'm showing that much.
I think you're showing just because I've been watching you.
Well, and
I've watched you change a little bit, but I also
if you didn't
know
me, you might think I'm showing, but I also know what I look like not pregnant, and I carry my. I think I've said it a million times on this podcast. I'm like a person that carries my weight in my stomach. That's why I was so excited to be pregnant the first time around because I was like, I can rock the belly.
I can actually lean into the belly. I don't have to suck in anymore.
Exactly.
Well, my secret is, I knew you were doing awesome with, you know, your dieting and your weight loss, and you were like making a lot of progress, and I was like, she's gonna get pregnant. This is what's gonna happen. And you did.
I think the same thing happened last time. I think I was like eating healthier or something, and then I can't remember.
No, we were not eating healthy. we were watching I want to say Tombstone. What were we watching? We were watching Deadwood, drinking whiskey and eating popcorn every night.
That was at the beginning of the pandemic.
We didn't change much.
It was like 5 months later.
Okay. So we graduated to more expensive bourbon and more bags of popcorn.
It's a weird life we used to live now looking back on it.
It's not too different now. We just have another one to take care of.
Yeah.
We have to squeeze a lot of things into time windows that don't that involve that kid being asleep.
Which our bedtime routine.
Oh man,
did he get you?
Oh, the dog
Just
farts are coming.
Pause the podcast.
Nope.
I can't do it. He's been doing it all day.
I believe in you.
You get that dog a colonoscopy.
Yeah, we got to get something. Something's dying. So he ate something dead, and it's just living dead in his butt.
Don't say that. Oh. Don't get so relaxed, buddy.
But yeah, so we got another one coming, and I was thinking about it today. Do you feel like the stakes are higher or lower in pregnancy too?
What do you mean stakes?
Like the stakes of it all, like just the leading up to it, the anticipation of it, all the prep that goes into it. Do you feel like the stakes are higher getting stuff done this time around than they were the first time?
I mean, I think I know what you're talking about, but I think I also might be misunderstanding like the question. But like I'm not as freaked out right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's just we
have at least something that will work for this baby in every capacity. If it's pink, oh well. Like, but I know he's not going to be unclothed, undiapered, unfed or unsheltered. So I know all the basics will be covered, and we will fill in the gaps where needed. Like, so there's that. I know what we did with our first baby worked pretty well, and she's really awesome, except for when you take her pacifier away, which we did 3 weeks ago, and it was terrible. We can talk about that if y'all want to. I highly don't suggest it. Just snatch that thing out their mouth the second they're out of the SIDS like territory.
Yep.
And just don't ever give it back to them.
Our plan, I don't know if it'll work.
Take it away before they can talk back.
Take it away by the age of 1, and just put up with a few nights of crying.
Do you think our daughter is more addicted to her pacifier, sugar, or TV?
Yes.
We try.
Yes, and yes.
She only gets an iPad on 8-hour road trips.
Yeah.
We try not to use the TV, and I swear, if you turn that TV on, she's gone.
You've lost her.
She's gone in space.
It's honestly like when I can tell my mom is watching TV when I'm talking to her on the phone.
No. Way worse than your mom. Way worse than your mom. Oh, kid's name. Shoot.
I
don't know how long we've
I'll
been
find
going.
it. I'll find it. Don't worry. I should probably time how long we're going, just so we don't sit here and talk for 3 hours as we're apt to. Let's see. Timers. Nope. Not what I want. There we go. Stopwatch.
God, that dog fart just got to me. It's terrible.
I think the stakes I feel like they are higher this time because we know what is coming. Like, we didn't know what was coming before. We had 2 things going on last time. We had to get a space ready. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what was coming. Like, we had an idea. Like, we were like, we're reading things. We're talking about, We're wondering what it's going to be like.
It was
we
all
can't picture the
theoretical.
face. We can't, any of that stuff. I can't picture the face now, right? But it's like I know what's coming, and I feel like this time we also have kid 1 to factor into kid 2 joining the clan, so to speak, joining us, right? And so you're also like, I think there's subconsciously maybe some pressure because you're like, you even said if we ever have another kid, you will look around at all the pictures, you're like, I got to take as many pictures of the second kid or they're going to feel left out. But like in my head, I'm just like, oh, this is where second kid syndrome comes from. This is where like, it's like,
I worry about that. Yeah, for sure. Especially because they're going to be different genders. So there's just this automatic way you handle people differently then. I have no clue what to do with a boy. I'm going to be leaning so heavily on you. And our daughter already likes you better than me. So I'm just like, neither of our kids are going to need me. They're going to want their dad because one's a boy and one's in love with them. Like, so she'd be calling you her husband all week.
it's very awkward.
It's a phase little girls go through. You're fine.
But no, I think that I don't see myself treating a boy any different than the way we've been raising our daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we've been very straightforward with her.
Yeah, the values and the way we treat them is not what I mean. I just mean like, your own innate gender biases and things like we'll probably buy him a baseball bat before we buy her one, kind of thing.
Maybe.
Like stuff you don't even realize you're doing. That's the stuff I kind of worry about. I also worry about, like just.
What's cool is when she brings up anything that's like stuff that mostly boys do, or
oh yeah, I love it.
Like for instance, playing football, playing baseball, not softball, right? Like I'm just kind of like, cool, yeah, you can do that if you want to.
That's
like
how I was when I was growing up. I didn't understand why the boys could do things and I wasn't allowed to. I remember my grandmother getting on to me because I couldn't climb a tree because little girls didn't do that, and I was like, I got legs.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm taller than all the boys. I can reach the branches. What are you talking about?
I have an advantage, Grandma.
I was like, get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've got, like I said, you've got to move. So we've decided to leave the baby room a baby room, and we've moved child 1.
I think this room's better for her.
I think it is too. I think she likes it a lot. And I thought it was going to be more of an issue because we were also in the process. We were on the tail end of the process of breaking her of her passy, which
I got PTSD from that.
That was a rough month,
and it was on the tail of another rough month. October and November sucked.
Yeah,
like
I had a trip. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was sick. The morning sickness from this pregnancy has kicked my butt way harder. I was sick for about 2 weeks, I think, the first time. And this is
food poisoning.
Yeah, this is I was getting there. Thank you. It's building, working on it, telling a story. But first pregnancy, maybe 2 weeks, going off memory, so don't quote me there. This time, the entire first trimester and a little into the second, just barely could look at food, couldn't smell. Smells are still getting to me. We had somebody
tell really nauseous though. You didn't throw up much, did you?
No, I mean I threw up once with the girl, and that was just because I took my prenatal in the morning, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to take it at night.
Right.
But I didn't throw up. I threw up like brushing my teeth a little bit one time. That was it.
Okay.
But like.
That's normal anyway.
Yeah, fair. And I'm very fortunate. Like we know people that threw up every single day, several times a day of their pregnancy, had to be on medication. It still didn't help. Mm-hmm. So I know that I hear myself say this and know how much worse it could be. It was still terrible for me. So it's only more empathy, sympathy going to my friends that had it worse. Because I'm just like, I was barely functional. And like there was like a solid week there where I felt like I was on a boat in the open ocean, and I was just like, this must be what vertigo's like. This is terrible. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, I was sick. Then I got food poisoning. Then right after my birthday, by the way, my birthday was a travesty. And
I tried to make it nice.
You did it. Yeah, you did a great job.
The universe just worked against us the whole time.
The universe works against me like every other year on my birthday. But then you went to Vegas. Then you came back with COVID. And your daughter missed you the entire time you were in Vegas, which was
I couldn't even hug her when I got back.
Yeah, she was not sleeping because you weren't there, really upset you weren't there. She was trying to keep like a brave face about it and still have a good time, but it was definitely affecting her. And then you got home and you had to quarantine, and thankfully we didn't catch COVID from you. Like, you walked right in with a mask and took a COVID test and stayed your butt in the guest room for a while. Man,
I've never seen a line pop up faster on anything in my life.
Yes.
I took that test and I did the little drops, and you could see the moisture moving. And it was just like,
It was like a pregnancy test.
I was like, I have the strongest COVID ever. It didn't kick my ass really, but like it definitely it gave me a day and a half of kind of feeling ugh.
Well, you had a fever and chills for a day or
one
two.
night. I had one night of like real like bad, whereas the first time I got it was like 3 days. I was out. The terrible feeling was like I felt okay, but I had to stay in that room.
Yeah.
And
you couldn't hug her.
I popped my head out with a mask, and she was like, "Daddy," and like I was like, no, and she's like, the look on her face of like what?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in like 5 days, and I can't hug you. It was
upset.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, she didn't like that one.
We had a lot of me in a mask sitting across the room talking to her.
Well,
conversations.
And then she didn't sleep any better that week because you essentially were
unable to help,
not present in her room for bedtime, which was all she wanted. Like, and explaining to her like how sick she could get, or any of that was just lost.
Yeah,
and she gets a lot, but just. I think we were moving into
every morning. Like, are you still sick, Dad?
Pretty much.
I'm still sick, Dad.
Well, and I was reading like there's a sleep regression around 2.5. So all this lined up with her like 2.5 mark, and
every bit of it.
Yeah, and then right after you recovered, she got sick. Not with COVID, not with the flu, not with RSV.
They tested her for everything. And
not with strep.
Yeah, they couldn't find out what it was. They were like, it's just some sort of viral thing.
She had 103 fever, and she had a fever for what, 6 days?
At least a low grade fever.
Yeah.
For the better part of 6 days.
Somewhere around 100. Yeah. Well, the peak was at the beginning, and then she kept one around 100 for like 6 days, and just.
We're like, is she teething again?
We thought molars were coming in. We had no clue what it was, and still never figured it out. But it's just the longest sickness I think she's had in a while. And
just a bunch of congestion.
And then we made it to Halloween, which was great because I asked her. I said she wanted to be Elsa, which we thought she was going to want to be Mario, but she changed it at the last minute, wanted to be Elsa, and so that's fine. What do you want Mommy and Daddy to be? Because we generally have been doing a theme.
Sure. Matchy.
I thought, she's going to say Sven, Kristoff, Anna, some other character from Frozen. Mommy and Daddy, come be my accompaniments.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I want y'all to be Elsa too.
And we made sure. Because honestly... Leading up, she loves Halloween, by the way.
Yeah, she
loves it. Oh my gosh. She likes
still,
the spooky store.
She's asking why we can't go trick-or-treating right now.
But I was, at first...
She was like hugging skeletons in the spooky store.
At first, she wanted to be a werewolf.
Oh, yeah, she did. She did talk about
She's got a thing for wolves. I don't know what's going on, but she got a thing for wolves. She wanted to be a werewolf. Then she wanted to be the Grim Reaper for some reason.
About that one.
She saw an inflatable of the Grim Reaper, and she's like, I want to be that. It's like... Well, you can't be that inflatable, but you can be the Grim Reaper. She's like, I want to be that.
Oh.
And then she changed it to Elsa.
I think cross-dressing Daddy won though. I did. Yeah. You were trying so hard to phone it in. You wanted a hoodie with a braid on the back of it or something. It's like,
nope.
I pulled out all the stops, y'all. I went, this is your baby girl's last Halloween by herself. As a solo child.
Yeah, you were pulling out the cheap shots.
Oh, I hit below the belt on everything.
You did.
And then he went, fine. And I was like, let me get that 2X dress on Amazon.
Yep. Had the full dress, had a full wig with the braid thrown over the shoulder.
I offered to give you the pretty wig, quote unquote.
I like the one I had.
No, the one you had looked amazing on you.
I got lots of props from a lot of moms.
And dads. It was fun.
Got some weird looks from rednecks. I loved it.
I have got
some giggles,
but you're not going to bleep anything this episode.
I had some giggles from boys in the range of like 10 to 12.
But a 12-year-old
just-
girl told us, you slay, and you slay. And I've never felt more vindicated in my life.
I've never slayed before. I've never been confirmed slaying.
I know. I thought only Buffy could do that.
But
God, I'm so old.
but yeah, you know, you get a couple of like prepubescent boys that were be like, "Oh, he's dressed like a girl." And I'm looking at that, I just look at him and I like wink at him. They'd be like, "Hmm?"
I have so many thoughts that are not appropriate for a family
Give him a little wink.
podcast. Just a little wink. Don't wink at prepubescent boys, please.
I know. Whatever. They'll get over it. But what was great is I'm walking around with my daughter and my beautiful wife, and what are you going to say to me?
Yeah.
I impregnated her.
I was about to
You
say-
can't use what you want to use against me right now, because
kinda where my
clearly I have done this.
That's where my thoughts are going. I didn't know how to phrase it there. With your little boy on the way.
Correct.
Yeah. I like how you get your feet on the table like you own the place.
That's all I own. Is my little domain.
I feel that way about my office now too. We had to move the guest bed into my office, which is half the size of your office, and my office was already taken up. Like, imagine a walk-in closet with a 13-foot wraparound desk. That's my office, and
That's accurate.
we put a queen-size bed in it on top of that. So now there's no room in my office, but I love it even more.
There's a couple of side steps you got to take, but now you lay down during the day.
I really, really like having a bed in there. It's dangerous. Being pregnant with a bed right next to where I'm working, it's wonderful. Now, if you can just get me a wireless mouse and keyboard, I'll never get out of that bed.
You'll turn into like the Cartman gamer
Yes.
meme. Have a bell. Ding, ding, ding.
That's a good point. I need to take the dogs on a walk. Yeah.
The pregnancy. This pregnancy excuse only goes so far.
Yeah.
I can't allow job of the bed to happen.
All right, you're right. We got to get that thing out of there.
Fair. We gotta burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Just set it on fire.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we made it through Halloween. We kind of got ramped up and prepped for our Thanksgiving trip, which we took down to Florida to see my folks because we haven't gone to their house for Thanksgiving since the year before we got married. So,
Mind you, we decided the week before this trip
yeah,
that was the time.
leading up to that, yeah.
That was the time we decided, let's take this Passy away.
Oh, and she's moved into a big girl bed, and we still don't have a travel bed for her. We only had a pack and play, which on
She's a
small
little too
trips has been okay. Like to her aunt and uncle's house has been all right. Not great, but all right. So we were like,
I don't think we get away with it even there again.
nope, I don't either. She'll never get back in that thing and be okay with it again.
Yeah.
But so we took her Passy away, and she lost her mind the first night. Still lost her mind, but not as bad the second night. We had about 4 or 5 nights here before we took off for there, and then
Just under a week.
yeah, she had one decent night there because we got her in late as hell, and she had a huge day, and she went right to sleep. And then the next 3 nights, she screamed
Yeah.
for 2 hours at bedtime.
At the grandparents' house.
It was so embarrassing.
And
I was sitting
she
there
was
like,
being very just
because
she wasn't sleeping well. She wasn't acting well when she was up.
Yeah.
And Bluey partially got blamed.
Oh, poor Bluey.
Bluey partially got blamed. And I
God.
see why it got blamed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know Bluey's not the reason.
No.
Me and
Just
you knew
bad
what was
timing.
going on. It was just terrible timing. Because now we've gotten a few weeks out from it.
She's wonderful again.
She's doing fine. We just
She's
had to
like-
basically reel it in, and
So agreeable. Like, we didn't even give her candy, and she's still like a wonderful, agreeable child. That was not happening during that 2-week period. Like,
No.
Sugar made everything worse.
well, and it didn't help that like she was immediately in a situation. We were talking to a friend about this today. She was immediately in a situation where, I mean, when you go to visit the grandparents far away, I mean, just the routine just
Yard.
gets shattered.
Yeah,
like
you're out of
it's
your element.
you get it as close as you can, but for the most part, you're still overblowing that thing by an hour at least. So we were trying our best. But now that she's back and we've got our routine, so right when we got back, I finished putting the bed together, and then we were like, okay, we're gonna have to slowly, like, dip her toe in the water of getting into a new room. No, as soon as she saw the bed together, I was like, you want to get up there and lay down? She got there and lay down. She goes, I'm sleeping in here tonight. Got up and she literally started grabbing her stuff and moving it grabbing her pillows, grabbing her dolls.
She had U-Haul boxes just sliding them down the hallway.
She was just like, excuse me. Watch your back.
So I think it's funny because right now, both kids' rooms are her rooms. She is okay with that. She's
going in there less though.
She is, yeah, and she's starting to comprehend that it's going to be the baby's room. Which
yeah.
I even asked her yesterday. I was like, "Are you going to be okay when the baby gets here and sleeps in your old room?" And she was like, "I think so."
Yeah. Well, I think part of that too is we weren't expecting her to want to get, like, I was expecting to get some more things into the room. Like, we didn't have all the tables we wanted in there yet and all that stuff.
Yeah, we had
and I was like, well, I guess
tables from when my parents were married still in there.
I literally finished putting the bed together and it was like not even 30 minutes later. It's like, I guess she's moving in here tonight.
Oh yeah, clothes are in the closet and everything.
In the closet. I was like, all right, well, if you're moving, we're moving it. I just started grabbing things and just moving them. And I think what happened too, because we were still in that rough period.
We still didn't even have sheets for her that day, did we?
We were no, we had the sheets.
Okay.
We had to wash them. Yeah. They were still in the package. But I think she didn't understand the gravity of that until she went to bed that first night, and she was like, "Oh, these are new shadows on the wall. Yeah. This is all open. It's really different. It doesn't look." I mean, that room and where that bed was.
She had to find how not to bump her head on the bed.
In several places. She's still figuring that out.
Yeah.
I had to put pool noodles on the damn rails. But no, where she was sleeping before was her crib, and then we took the rail off, and it became just a normal kind of one open-sided bed, right? And that's that layout. Like, when you're laying there, you get used to where everything's at in your peripheral. Yeah. And like, so I know it had to be weird because I remember being a kid when because we moved a lot when I was a kid, like, because we were renters. So every year or two we would move. And I remember being in a new room the first night was still weird because you were like, okay, the door's over here.
Yeah.
And there's a window here. And I don't know what this piece of furniture is like. And my bed's different, and the lights from the nightlight are different,
yeah,
or the shadows anyway. So I think that it was just with everything else going on. So we had like a week and a half after that where it was like,
it was rough.
She was still Jones and Passy.
Yeah.
She was still not understanding. She was like, she please stay here with me. Please don't go.
Yeah,
please.
Screaming.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
And man, we didn't know what to do. Like, we tried everything from compassion to getting firm and being like, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
which is never works.
We tried bribing. Like, we tried everything. And then I don't know when it finally clicked with me, but I was like, hey, where's our Moms on Call book? And we sat there and read the toddler section on sleep and the Moms on Call book, which we haven't picked up since her second birthday, I don't think.
Yeah.
And we tried exactly what that book told us to do, and she went to bed immediately the next night. Like, when we said verbatim, essentially verbatim what they said to say in that book, that baby went right to sleep.
It's incredible.
That night. Like,
it was incredible.
I was like, I feel like an idiot. I wish I had done this 3 weeks ago.
Well, what we weren't realizing is we were giving her an extra benefit of the doubt because we knew she was changing rooms. B, she was still wanting her passy. And we were like, okay, well, let's just give her some extra time. Let's comfort her a little more. Yeah. And that's not what we needed. She, like, literally.
It's not what worked for our kid.
Yeah. And it might not work for the next kid, but
exactly.
This kid in particular wants to know what's the deal, right?
The Moms on Call blueprint is what works for this child.
Yeah. It's literally like she just wants to know, tell me what's coming up because I don't want to be surprised.
You know what's going to piss me off? New kid's going to like the Baby Wise book. And I'm going to have to read that whole thick-ass book.
Yeah. We're going to brute force Moms on Call on them. Be good. Fine.
I'm hoping it works. Your cousin worked for all three of theirs. So.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's been us. We've just been kind of, it hasn't, like, I'll be honest, like, since second birthday, like, it's still been awesome.
Yeah.
Everything's been cool.
She's funnier every day.
Yeah, she's a talker. she will surprise you every day with something new to say.
She looked at me the other day. She's literally like just getting ready for bath, and she said something like in disagreement with one of us, or like she was going to do something in spite of what we were telling her. I can't quite remember what happened, and I just gave her like this flat look, like for real, like a slow blank, and she looks at me and goes, "I know that face. Don't give me that face." And I went, "Oh my God." I like almost fell in the tub. I just started laughing. I couldn't even try to pretend to hold it.
Yeah.
She's 2.5.
Yeah. Tonight you were like, we haven't video called your grandparents. And we video called them, and we had to pause whatever we were watching. Miss Rachel.
It's my grandparents, so it's her great grandparents.
And your mom. So
and one of her grandparents.
So we had to pause Miss Rachel to take this call, and she was just kind of like, she was trying to be as patient as she could. She was looking at the TV that was paused, and she would go back to talking to them, and she'd eat her food, and you could tell she kept looking. She wasn't pitching a fit, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Can we watch that?" And we're like, "Well, we're talking to your grandparents and your great grandparents," and she goes. She literally, like, you didn't pick it up on it because you were still trying to have a conversation with them on the video. Yeah. She just says, "I like them, but I don't want to talk to them right now. I want to watch Miss Rachel." And I was like, "Oh my God, I like them, but," you could tell she's like, "How do I say this without being mean?" And you could see it roll in her head. She goes, "I like them, but."
What about the other day when she told me?
I still like them. I still like them, but
I wanna watch Miss Rachel. The other day, she told me if someone killed me, she would take care of me. We were talking about something else, and then if she got hurt or something, and then she turned it around to me. I said, like when she gets hurt, it's my job to take care of her. And she turned it around to me and said, "Well, if someone kills you, I'll take care of you." And I was like, "Baby, do you know something I don't know? Did somebody say something to you about mommy?"
Yeah.
I was
like, "Are you having dreams of the future?
Do I need to watch my back? Anybody hired a hitman?
Did you have a premonition? Do you have psychic abilities and we don't know about it?"
If so, we're setting up a college fund.
No joke.
Right now.
But yeah, I mean, that's been what we've been dealing with. And it's been very interesting because, like, all the stuff we talked about before in the previous episodes is like just trying to stay in the pocket of being there for all of it. Because, as we've said before, and as we get mad when people say it, like, "Oh, it goes by so quick,"
yes.
Blah, blah, blah. It does. Like, it does.
It's flying by.
When you're looking back on it, of course, it feels like it does. But doing your best to remain, like, in that zone of, like, at least being there while things are going on helps a lot. Like, I mean, it'll be, there'll be teenagers and not want anything to do with this, and I'll, be like, well, at least we had that felt like so long ago, or it's like it went by so quick. I know I'm going to feel like that because that's just kind of the person I am. But I think as long as you're, doing your best to just kind of be there for all those, even the boring days. Like there's boring days. Like we're like, I don't want to watch 100% Wolf. Like, come on, man.
That movie is her obsession right now.
Can we bring Mario back? Can we please bring Mario back?
I'm like, I will watch Ferdinand 500 more times if you don't watch this movie ever again.
Yeah. She's been obsessed with this Australian animated movie called 100% Wolf. And I don't even remember how we found it.
It's terrible.
I was trying to find something else, and you know what it is?
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's certainly not good.
Yeah, I was searching on Hulu for something, and it popped up, and she just saw a dog howling at the moon, right?
And she's been obsessed with moons for a really long time.
Moons and wolves.
Yeah.
Like she's obsessed with the wolf from Puss in Boots,
That's
new
true.
one. So yeah, she was like, "I'll watch this," and I was like, "Oh sure, why not?" Like it's just kind of a gimme or whatever. And
kid loves being scared. It's so weird.
She does. But we did get her to watch Muppet Christmas Carol the other day.
She didn't want to.
She was Scrooge was intense.
Well, Scrooge was intense. Michael Caine's intense, but like the ghosts were scaring her for a minute. Like just and Scrooge just being a grump,
Mm.
like just really freaked her out. And I like was trying to get stuff done and decorate for Christmas around the house and like let her just be a zombie in front of the TV for a minute, because usually you can't even get through to her if the TV's on. You have to literally pause it to ask her anything.
If it's something she's seen a lot, yes. If it's something that's new, she's going to want it. She wants you to tell it to her. She's one of those, like, she's going to be a person that reads the last page of a book before she reads the book.
Do you want to know who did that when they were a kid?
You?
Yes.
Of course. I've got to know how it ends before I can read it.
So much. But yeah, so I ended up making an executive decision that the Christmas decorations are going to have to wait. I was going to have to sit there and hold her hand and watch Muppet Christmas Carol to help her through it. And I literally like sat on the floor with her almost the rest of the movie and like put my hand on her leg, held her hand through like spooky parts. Cause it's, I mean, like I was looking at it and
Christmas
I was like,
Future was kind of.
yeah, I was like, some of this is kind of scary for a 2-year-old. Like, I don't remember it that way. I had to I come over to you and I was like, all right, this is my reminder that she can't watch Scrooged for a few more years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just boobs popping out of the top of corsets and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's infinitely more scary too.
Yes, Bobcat with a shotgun, pretty terrifying.
But hilarious when you get older.
Yeah, real funny. My office shootings.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
But yeah, it's been really fun. Like I'm looking forward to the next thing. Like I really just think it'll be cool, but there's just so many more moving parts now because you have the other person that you're still trying to raise. Because I think what weighs on my mind is like I want to give them. You can never give two kids, I think, equal experience.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
you can't give them a 1-for-1
yeah.
experience. You can go as close as you can, but I think you could, as long as you stick to your overall message is the most important thing, I think. But
because I mean, one kid shows up
right?
with all eyes on them, and then the next kid shows up and like
you still got to watch the other kid.
Well,
too.
I just mean like all they've ever known is there's another child here. Like I'm not the only one, so it's just automatically like when you start, it's different. So I'm a little worried about that. I think we'll do fine because I think we're so paranoid that we'll be hyper conscious of it, and I'm sure we'll falter. But like,
sure,
I think
no one's perfect.
I think we'll do as best as can be expected.
Yeah, well,
I hope so at least. If you're listening to this in the future, sorry.
I think too. One of the things we talked about with I think at your last doctor's appointment with the midwife, right? It was like talking about like you kind of almost go through a mourning period,
yeah,
for knowing that your trio is now, you know, not going to be a trio anymore. Not that it's a bad thing that you're gaining a new, at least this is how I'm going through it. Like, not that it's a bad thing that you're gaining it, but like what you were saying about Halloween. It's like, this is our last Halloween with her by herself. This is our last this with her by herself. Like, this will be the last Christmas of her being the only child.
I will say so far, like when we first found out we were pregnant, when we were considering even like having another child, I thought that was going to be a much bigger factor in my process going through the pregnancy. And I'm only halfway there. Like, you know, there's plenty of time for me to still freak out. But I would have thought it would have come about more already. I haven't. The thought has crossed my mind, like, it's not going to be just the three of us anymore. Like, this whole dynamic is going to change, and I wonder what that's going to be like. But I haven't been, like, sad about it, which, good, great. That's awesome. Yeah. You definitely don't want to be too, like, mopey about it because you made this call. Like, I'm really excited for the new chapter. Yeah. While, you know, trying to, like, properly close out the last one. Like, give her, you know, the last few hurrahs. Like, she's moving around.
I've got an anticipatory like personality, so
yeah.
But I will say, as much as I anticipated being kind of like mournful, I guess you could say, about that period, like of the three of us turning into four kind of thing, it hasn't been as bad. And even the midwife, who I think has two kids, is just like, well, I mean, yes, you feel like that because it's an unknown. Like it's just like when you had your first kid, you don't know what that's like because it's only ever been the two of you. Like now, especially for us, because we were married for
we were together for 10 years.
Yeah, we were together 10 years, and then we had a kid. Like so, it had only ever been the two of us, and then we became three. So she's like, it's just a lot like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you'll remember those times, but it won't be like everything changed.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just be like, okay, well, it's just this now. And that's kind of how having the first kid was. Like, it just became this.
Yeah.
And I think that, honestly, that's why you get a lot of people. Like, there are people who just don't want to be parents, and I get it. But I think the anticipation for a lot of people is that it's going to completely destroy who they are and what they are. And I was nervous about that when we became parents. I was just like, well, I know I want this. I want a kid. Like, I want a family. But what's this going to do to what I know about myself, and stuff like that? And it didn't really change anything. I'm still doing a lot of the things I was doing before. Just, it's a different ratios, and it's all adjusting, right? And you're trying to get back into things that you miss and stuff.
I do feel like being a parent has changed kind of how I viewed myself. Like, but it didn't like crack my worldview or anything. It just gave me more perspective. Like, you're not quite like you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's your actions versus what you think of yourself. Like, so there have been times where I'm like, oh, I need improvement. And I was giving myself a little too much credit, but it's like not world shattering kind of things. Like, there have been times where I've been disappointed in my own like parenting and known I could do better, but it's just like, I also know I'm madly in love with my kid, and I'm going to be madly in love with the next one.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to try to do better. Like,
And there's something that I didn't anticipate as far as being a parent. And it's funny to look back at like the way my parents raised us.
oh yeah, no. Parenting is so different.
Well, it's
so
it's different, but what I'm talking about is like, you realize, and you just kind of brought it up, you realize in the moment when you're handling the situation wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, but then you're like, well, I gotta, like, do I stick to it? How do I get out of this?
How do I get out?
Yeah. How do I get out of this? When do I apologize? Like, because I've definitely apologized to her a couple times. Like,
God,
I was
apologize to her so
sorry.
many times.
I'm sorry. I was grumpy. Like, I didn't mean to, to be so short with you. Stuff like that. Like,
there's been like times where I think I've apologized to her within 4 seconds. Like, been like, mommy messed up.
Yeah. And what's funny is sometimes
she apologizes so much. I wonder if that's because of us too.
Well, and there's sometimes where you wonder, like, well, you realize, okay, I'm going about this the wrong way, and it just, for some reason, tilts you further at yourself. Like, not at her, but you're just kind of like, then my grumpiness becomes being mad at myself, not really even being mad at what's going on in the situation or being like frustrated with what's going on. Like, I am now like destroying myself on the inside. 'Cause I'm like, why are you doing it? Like, why did you say that? Like, why did you, why couldn't you just been the one? 'Cause it's all about the poker face. And that's what the Moms on Call book was like, even harping on about bedtime.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's a little different though. And I mean, like, not trying to get on to you, but that's how you are when we disagree too. Like, yeah. I can see when the change happens, when a point has landed with you and you're just mad at yourself now. Mm-hmm. It still feels like you're mad at me and it still doesn't feel good.
I know.
And it's like, that's why I really, really hate when we disagree, because no matter if I'm right or wrong, it sucks. Mm-hmm. But like, that's not how I am so much. Like, the second mine is more, I'm stubborn. So it takes a lot for me to turn the boat around and realize I was wrong. So when I'm wrong with her, I have to get like distance almost. And there's been times where I've seen it in the middle of it and been able to be like, I'm stopping right now. I'm taking a breath. I need a moment. I'm really sorry. I handled that all wrong. Let's start over. But maybe 3 times, like, total.
Well, it doesn't help that like she's got some pretty stubborn characteristics about her. Like, she gets locked in and she's just like, not letting this go. And I'm like, it's hard too, because I've gotten that situation, a couple times with her too, where I'm like, well, I'm not letting my part of the bargain go. Like,
exactly. And there's part of parenting where you can't. Like, you can't back down because you have to stand firm in what you said you were going to do. But
it's all like legal precedent. It's
yeah,
so weird. As soon as it happens.
Yes, that is perfect.
As soon as it happens, now that's the legal precedent.
But we always do this.
Yeah. It's like, but we did it however long ago.
Oh, and she looks at other kids and what they can get away with. And I mean, the first thing out of her mouth is, but they can do it. I'm not their mom. Like, I'm sorry. They got a different mom. Sorry, kid. Lost lottery. She's real stuck on suckers right now. But what I was going to say, too, is like, oh, shoot, I lost it. Dang it.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Apologizing in the moment. You're in the moment.
Yeah.
You're trying to correct, and sometimes you got to get space.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. So that is one thing I am fearing with another kid coming in is we have had 2-on-1.
2-on-1 is
this entire
very beneficial.
Time. So if somebody is in that moment where they're not coping with this the best way as a parent, we can tag out. Like, there have been many a times where I was about to blow my top and you've like come in, tapped me and been like, go lay down. You're good. I got this.
Go eat. Go turn on the TV and eat dinner in the living room.
Yeah. I will sit with her. Do you need to eat in another room? Yes, I do. That is exactly what I need right now. Thank you very much, honey. I love you. I love you both.
You've done that for me.
Yeah.
And we've realized it. And we've had to call the other person and was like, hey, I need to tap out. Yeah. I got to walk away because right now I am so frustrated. I don't know what to even do with myself.
And I know like our option when we have two will be trade kids, see if that works better.
Yeah.
But that's a little intimidating to me as to go to man-to-man defense. Like,
that'll be the biggest difference, I think. Right now we can at least, tag out, take a breather while the other one goes in and tries to wear her down a little bit. Just all right.
I mean, and I know
because sometimes it just turns into literally a mental battle of attrition.
Yeah. Well, and I know there'll be days where one person can handle both of them and the other one can't. Like, but I think it'll be a little different because it's gonna be a boy and a girl. Like, so I'm wondering about that dynamic a little bit. And I know, like one of my best friends, she's the older sister and she has a little brother and he was always around when we were growing up and they love each other dearly and they had a great relationship growing up and they played together and it was my annoying little brother times, but it was, amazing. So I'm like, really fingers crossed, hoping for that.
Yeah, because the annoying little brother stuff is going to be there. Yeah. You just hope to minimize that, but that's part of that's up to them too.
I hope that's my sweet, well-meaning little brother that's not big enough for what we're about to do yet, but we're gonna let him down easy.
What I'm not looking forward to is when they learn how to work together.
Oh, and I've had people tell me they're gonna do that.
They're going to. I know they will.
One of my bosses.
No one has to tell me that.
One of my bosses definitely was like, oh, and my stepmother. My boss told me they were gonna work together against us. My stepmother said that the older one's going to get the younger one to do stuff the older one's too scared to do. So they're going to make each other braver. And I was like, no.
It'll be fine.
Because my baby brothers are the same age gap our kids will be.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing. Like, I know it's going to be fine. It's just, it feels very similar to
she's trying to fall out of the bed.
Feels very similar to when let me see.
She's okay. She just rolled back. Sorry.
Feels very similar to when we were about to have the kid and we just didn't know what it was gonna be like. But now, like, there's the other kid factor, and I think that's why it feels higher stakes. I know it's gonna be fine, but it still feels higher stakes. So I
think we still feel just as unprepared as we did in 2020 when we first found out.
Yeah, when we first started this podcast.
Every time I think we've kind of got a little rhythm going and figured out, she like throws us with a sleep regression or something. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know nothing about this child. I don't know what she needs. I don't know what she wants. She hates me and everything around her. We've done nothing to make her happy. Yeah. And then she turns perfect again. And I'm like, what a life.
This is great.
The most wonderful life I could have asked for.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a very cool thing. And I'm glad we're back to doing this. I feel like it's important. Yeah. I think it's good for us to talk it out too, just because I think we get some things out in doing this that we don't normally get a chance to. It doesn't normally just come up in conversation because we're not explaining it to others,
Yeah, that's a good point.
And as predicted, and as I felt before I had kids, no one else cares. No one else cares what you're doing, how you're doing it. Even when they ask you how, they're not ready to hear it. They're usually just trying to confirm whether or not what they're doing is gonna work. They're like, how'd you guys get so and so to sleep? And they're like, well, we did this. We followed this book. We had these things. Like, oh, cool. Well, here's what we're doing. You're like, oh, well, you just needed to know what someone else did. And I'm like, that's whatever.
I have a friend who's due with her first in February, and she, sent me the text. It was like, anything, any products, anything you want to send my way. And I kind of forgot that momentarily, what you just went over, and I sent her like a ton of things.
Oh, Lord.
and she was really appreciative of it, but I threw in like, hey, Mom's on Call is a book we used. It really helped us. We just had a really bad sleep regression, and we hadn't touched the book for a while. We picked it up, and everything went magically back to like perfect like that night. And she was just like, I'm going to take all of this into account. And I was like, will you?
Yeah.
Will you?
No, I think
but I kind of believe her. So I don't know. I'm still hopeful is all.
Maybe so. I mean, you did get the Mom's on Call thing from a cousin.
I got it from a friend. My cousin recommended Baby Wise.
Oh, the other one. Okay.
Your cousin recommended Mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, it was from a cousin.
Yeah.
I wasn't wrong.
Truth.
I wasn't wrong.
Never are.
All right. Well, at the risk of making this thing super long, I think it was a good start. Let's maybe, do you want to do this every week? You want to do it every other week? I think every week's a lot, but by the time we do every other week, we'll have done another anatomy scans coming up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Anatomy scans coming up.
I kind of want to talk about that next week though, because it'll be fresh. Because we get our anatomy scan next week.
Okay. Why don't we just say if we got things to talk about every week, cool. If we don't, we can go every other week.
Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
It's just us.
It's just us. Doesn't have to be long. Can be 30 minutes if we want it to be.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the anatomy scan while it's fresh. And maybe we can start talking about Christmas and Elf on the Shelf stuff.
Speaking of anatomy scan, that's how Child 1 found out about Child 2.
Oh, yeah. So we did not intend to tell her that way. We were going to surprise her with a big girl room just ready to go. And then maybe a month later, break it to her. She was getting a baby brother.
Yeah, I was getting over COVID and I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And so she had to go with you.
Well, no, you were getting over COVID.
And she couldn't go to school.
She got sent home from school. After 15 minutes after I dropped her off, they said she had poopy tummy. And
diarrhea, that works too. Just so people know. Every time he's poopy.
Fair point. But yeah, they sent her home. They said we saw no signs of this, mind you. I'll stand by this.
Even after?
Yeah. Before or after, no signs. But 15 minutes after I dropped her off, I had to go get her again. And to make it to my ultrasound, I had to take her with me, and we hadn't explained to her yet that she was going to be a big sister. So I got to do that very quickly in the middle of a sonogram room, expecting to have a vaginal ultrasound in front of my 2-year-old, and they thankfully surprised me that it was a tummy ultrasound. And I was like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, thank you, good Lord. I was like, this is going to be so weird. I don't know if we can do it.
She was excited. What was her reaction?
She immediately was ecstatic. Like, it was a better reaction than I could have even imagined. She put both her hands on her cheeks with like glee and excitement in her eyes and was just over the moon. Like, not even a hesitation about it. And I said, so you're going to have a baby brother. Like, I kind of just laid it all out on the table because she was kind of pulling for her sister.
Right.
She didn't know a baby was even in the mix, but her baby dolls had her like.
We'd been asking questions, leading questions, like
a little bit of leading questions.
Like, hey, it's like, what do you think? Do you want like?
What would you think if you had a little baby brother or sister? And she was like, that kind of stuff. But the second she found out she was having a baby brother, she was elated. Mm-hmm. It was so precious. And then she was just like so enamored watching like the baby in mommy's tummy. She's been wanting to show him things around the house like constantly. So she walks up to me and she'll pull my shirt up or tell me, pull your shirt up. I want to show baby something.
Yeah.
And she tried to teach him sign language the other day. She's been tickling.
Keep your shirt up. You just wanted to walk you through the house to show him things.
Yeah, I went to put my shirt down so I could walk through the hall, and she goes, no, keep your shirt up. I want him to see. And she's taken to tickling him through my belly button right now. which my belly button's completely different since my first pregnancy. And before, you couldn't get a whole finger in there. Now you can. It's weird. But she tickles him through my belly button now. She did that tonight again.
Too
Very
funny.
silly.
Too funny. But let me. I don't know. I can't hit the music. I can't hit the music.
I'm here. Let's ride this into the ground.
Write it out. Tell them how to get in touch with us.
I don't remember. It's been too long.
At P Unprepared Pod.
At P Unprepared Pod. On Twitter.
Parentally unprepared at Gmail.
And parentally unprepared at Gmail. I'm unprepared to give you our contact information.
This is how unprepared we are.
He should have slid me a note.
If I had a note to slide.
Listen, I'm busy keeping this whole house running. I can't run your podcast too.
Now I've got if I had $1 million stuck in my head. If I had $1 million.
This does kind of remind me of that.
No, that was just you saying if I had a note. If I had a note. I was talking about. But it kind of does have that now that you mention it.
Yeah.
This is a very Bare Naked Ladies Mario theme.
I didn't even think of that. You had 500 miles stuck in my head the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from here.
I don't either. Let's wrap it
Hey,
up.
we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.